Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast. This is Chrissy Raywalk, Director of Intercollegiate Athletics at the University of Delaware. One of the things that I appreciate and enjoy most about leadership is that it's a journey, not a destination. It involves lots of different twists and turns, and you need many different types of people to go along with you on your journey in order for it to be successful. So today, I invite you to start your leadership journey with this podcast. Enjoy.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast, where we highlight executive and organizational leadership. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at 1Q Leadership. This episode will be hosted by one of our guest hosts, Kendi Hilliard. Kendi is a student athlete with Illinois State and she's also an intern in the athletics department. Take it away, Kendi.
Welcome to the One Question Leadership Podcast. My name is Kendi Hilliard and I am a current volleyball player at Illinois State University, and today I will be guest hosting this episode of One Question. On this podcast, I will be featuring Jordan Lewis, the current SAAC representative for the women's basketball team at the University of Alabama. Hi, Jordan. Thank you for coming to talk to me on the podcast.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Kendi, for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, Jordan, you've received countless of honors throughout your career, including being named 2020 SAAC Scholar Athlete of the Year. Congratulations on that amazing achievement.
Oh, thank you so much.
Before we start talking about your role in SAAC, I just want to know, from a student athlete to student athlete, how have you continued to stay focused on your academic and athletic goals during this pandemic lockdown?
It's been a little different being at home, particularly for basketball. You have to find other ways to kind of improve in your sport without the gym space that's been limited around where I'm from. I've also tried to work harder on my academics because you're on your own, so you're kind of teaching yourself the material. And so I think that's been kind of a challenge, but it's helped me grow better for when I do return, that I will be able to have my own skills to learn things. Like, I'm from Orlando and Alabama's 9 hours away, so being away from school, I'm used to having like the gym open 24 hours a day. I'm used to the weight room being open. I'm used to my coaches being around. So I think you kind of lose those resources and you're kind of put like on your own for the first time. And I think the adjustment with school was kind of harder for me because the MBA program like requires a lot of you and a lot of work to be done. And so I just think continuing to find ways to learn things and find ways to make things easier and use your resources that you have around you, I think has been the biggest challenge I've had.
Since you've already graduated your undergrad and now you're working on your master's in business, what do you plan on doing to further on your career? Are you doing any internships or have done any internships to help you along the way?
I plan to work for, I actually did an internship with PepsiCo. And this summer, I'll be doing an internship with Frito-Lay. So I was hoping to kind of stay in that kind of business. They do a lot of things with entertainment, sports, and just kind of anything across the board. And so I think getting my MBA is just helping me to pursue that career.
Wow, I think it's really cool how you found your niche and why you want to be an MBA. I know for me, as I go through this podcast for my internship and everything, is the hardest part is finding the time. How do you, as a student athlete, find the time to do all these internships along with athletics and just regular academics?
I just was blessed with my coach. She gave me the opportunity to take a summer off and kind of do my workouts from home around my work schedule. And this summer, with the pandemic being the way it is, we are home right now, so I was able to kind of start that internship and do it kind of virtually to finish it. So those are the opportunities that I've been given.
I love how you talked about your relationship with your coach, and it's completely relatable and totally understandable of how that has helped you along the way. So, as an athlete, how did you determine what kind of leader you wanted to be?
I think just with time, I think at first I wanted to be that leader that you can count on, is always going to work hard and always do the right thing, and just kind of a leader by example. But as I've grown and gotten older, I realized that I kind of want to be that vocal leader and be able to say the hard things and make hard decisions, because I think that's what's going to help you and help me like in the next step in my life. As you get older, you're going to have to make those decisions. And so I think I've kind of wanted to grow from being a lead by example, not letting it go, but be a lead by example and kind of adding the vocal part too.
Yeah, so as you continue to step up and make the hard decisions as the leader of the team, can you tell me, were there any outside of basketball organizations that helped you develop as a leader even more?
I mean, other than like the SEC leadership, just within my own team, and then the school kind of has their own leadership program where it's called like the Legacy Leaders, and basically they have speakers come in and kind of like teach you their leadership styles, how they've been successful, how just new ways to look at things. And I think changing like a change of perspective is really what helped me to see something from another view.
That's really cool how you're using your outside organizations to develop you as a leader and as a person moving forward in life. How important do you think it is for all student athletes to get involved in an organization outside of athletics?
Yes, I think that's very important because I actually met like some of my best friends just from joining AK. And honestly, my first 2.5 years at the university, I couldn't even tell you a regular student like outside of the athlete community. And so I think it's just very important to like broaden your horizon and not be stuck in just athletics and the people that are around you, because everyone else can help you open so many doors. And so I think it's just important to create those relationships with people that aren't necessarily the same person as you or live your same life.
So you mentioned a little bit about being an AKA, and since I recently became an SG what has your schedule been like adjusting to this new benefit of being in a sorority while also being a student athlete?
I would say it's kind of difficult because, I mean, obviously they have more time. Most of them have more time to kind of bond and do those activities. So you kind of have to work within your schedule what you can and can't do with them. And I think that a part of it, again, is my coaching staff and like them noticing and allowing their players to do things that they think is going to help them in the future. And so I think that's just been the most important thing to me. Is I haven't been like stuck in athletics and like that's the only thing I know. So I think that's really is what she plays a big role in, is giving you the opportunities to branch out and try new things.
Thank you for the insight on being a student athlete while being in a sorority. And I also love how you talked about your relationship with your coach. But since we're talking about your coach, I think we should talk a little more about basketball. So what is it like playing in the SEC day in and day out?
It's very tough. I would say on any given night, like you're expected a lot just because of the name you wear and the conference you play in. And so I think it's very hard. It's very tough. I think it challenges you in a good way. And I think it's only helped me grow from being a part of the SEC.
As you continue to play in the SEC, and especially just being a member of the women's basketball team, how do you plan on using your experience there to impact your role in being in SAAC? Do you think it's still important for you to be involved with, and how do you see it develop you as a leader?
I see SAAC as a very important part of being a leader because you're involved in, like I said earlier, big decision making. Like your say matters. You kind of represent that bigger group of people. So you may be the women's basketball representative, but you're representing your whole team. And I think that's just like part of being a leader, is you're able to exemplify what you want your team to look like and who you want them to be and the reflection of them. So I think that is a big role in SAAC. And I also think just creating new ideas and the community aspect of it. Like it's not just one aspect of it. It's not just all about athletes and like that's it. Like we try to integrate the athletes with other athletes, and we try to integrate with like the community and all kinds of things like that. So I think that's just been like something that's important to me.
I loved how you talked about using your voice as a SAAC member. I think that's where most of our other student athletes lose sight of what SAAC can do for all student athletes. So I think it's really cool how you have that mindset of building a better SAAC as a whole. And I also love how you mentioned about your community and supporting that. What are some things that Alabama has implemented in supporting the community outside of athletics?
Well, one major program we do is like we all go and help at the local school. And that was actually started by a student athlete himself, like the idea. So I think that's kind of brought us together. And I mean, they put on multiple events trying to involve everyone in the community together. So I just think as they continue to do that, the events will grow and get more people involved.
I think it's really cool how y'all continue to implement that program throughout your community, especially since it builds so much experience moving forward. which leads to my last question of, for you being an experienced veteran, what advice do you have for me or some of your freshmen and sophomores in your program moving forward?
I would just advise you to take advantage of everything they give you. I would say that I wasn't necessarily the person to go to all the talks or all the people coming to speak at the school, even leadership development. Like, I wasn't the first one to be like, oh, I want to go to that. But I feel like if I could go back to my freshman self, like, I would live out my entire college experience. And like you said, like, not just staying in the athletic world, like branching out and meeting other people and making new connections. Because, I mean, you never really know what you want to do. Like, you may have a plan, but someone could change your mind and show you a different perspective. So I would just say, like, don't be afraid to fail and just want to explore new things and get outside your comfort zone.
Well, thank you for the advice and coming to talk to me on the podcast. This has been a great chat, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward.
No problem. I had a great time.
Thank you for tuning in, and as always, I'm Kendi Hilliard, and go you Redbirds.
This episode of the One Question Leadership Podcast is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.